Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in Space Engineers after a few encounters with Clang, a reboot, a machine reboot, and then back in the game. Things seem to be working normally again, which is to say, working as well as they ever do in Space Engineers. So what I've done, the only thing I've done here since the last episode is cut a hole in the side of the ship. Why did I do this, you ask? Well, we had to get into this area here because, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff missing. So we have two goals in this particular compartment, and one of those goals is to replace all the gyros that are missing. And we need to obviously reconnect all of these parts and pieces that are not working anymore. So, got a couple things to do here. One is to repair, which is to get all this stuff in here. There's actually, okay. There we go. 6, which is to put one of those blocks there, one of those blocks there, back to number 8 and number 2, and it turns green. So one of the videos I did, which was this is a repeat. So Clang was at it in the last one, and I got so blasted frustrated because, well, Clang. So this conveyor is green. In the Clang adventure, it wasn't. I could place it, I could chop it, I could weld it, I could do whatever the heck I wanted to do, but it would not turn green. It was red. Ironically enough, we plumbed all of this in that particular episode, and all of the thrusters were lit. So they were clearly getting hydrogen, but for whatever reason, just was not working. So they were working, but not working. All right, so I'm gonna. If G will actually function. So gyroscope we're gonna need, and I'm gonna go ahead and put my scaffold block on here because I need that. And the issues. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna leave that out, and the reason I'm leaving that out is that ultimately is my escape. So here's also what we're gonna do. We're gonna change this to an obnoxious red color, so I know where I need to be. Actually, that's of no help at all, because I can see that from all sides, but at least it will orient me a little better, so let me change that one too, and then go back to hello. Alright, so well, let's focus on, this is the far side over here, and I couldn't tell you whether this is port or starboard at this point. We ultimately have to, let's see if I can flip that the right way. We ultimately have to get all of this connected back. And I hate using conveyor junctions, but I don't see that we really have a choice. So this is to verify that we indeed are linked all the way through. This should have turned green. Yes, it did. And that leaves the putting down of gyroscopes. In the case of, let me just verify, because there are a couple gyroscopes, they are all facing forward. So I will follow suit. 3. And what I mean by facing forward is the keypad is forward. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I think, yeah, we can get one more in over here. Gyro 3, spin it the right way. Alright, so that is fine. What I do want to do is kind of fill my way out as I go here. So obviously we have this section that goes into the containers. So we have so that's well, not my way out. All right, well, 3. So gyro, turn off T because it's absolutely useless. Useless anyway, because gyros just come on at a random direction anyway. Alright, so all the gyros are in. My escape route is here. Down to the center, and one of the things I want to do is button up areas like this. Alright, so having done that one, what I need to do is kind of investigate which direction things were originally working, which is to say I ultimately need to find my escape path back out of here. So we're going to do a couple things on this side, because the sides, for whatever reason, or this might actually be the top and the bottom, either way, these had conveyors which connected them in. The sides here did not, and I don't know why that was. There may have been oxygen generators in here. There probably was. So we have a whole boatload of oxygen generators in the back. I'm not going to put any more in just because. I think it's not that I think we have enough, although we probably do have enough. I mean, there are 2, 4, 4, 2. So 4 and 4 is 8, and so 12 sets of 9. So 12 times 9, whoever wants to do the math there. So there's quite a few oxygen generators back there. Okay, so conveyor tube, conveyor junction will end up with 6 of them on the side. There's a conveyor tube back to conveyor junctions. What I want to do here, while I'm working my way out, I'm going to put the gyros down one side and then the other, and I just want to make sure I'm seeing everything correctly here. And of course there are a couple gyros already here. So 3, and we're going to do the slide along and paste, which put those in. And we're going to come up here and do the same thing on this side. And then do the paste. Alright. So we're going from the back forward in this case, and the only way I can tell is I know hydrogen tanks are behind me. Alright, back to a conveyor tube, which we want to put one there, which it went green, which is good, and one here, which went green. So I'm happy, happy, happy. Alright, so there is now that side done, and we will here's where the challenge begins, because what I want to do is put, alright, that's good. But we're going to get rid of that one because we can't actually put that one in yet. So this is done. This section is done. This section is done, which is actually why I'm putting these blocks in, because that tells me that I'm done. That's my red, so that is my escape path. So we want to be down here. So, 2, which is a conveyor tube. Then we will put in conveyor junctions, provided the game will actually do what I'm asking it to do. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to verify, okay, that turned green, which is good. And this turned green, which is good. And all of those are green. Outstanding. Okay, gyros. How do you know if you have too many gyros? Simple answer, if your ship actually moves as it's supposed to, you have enough. If it doesn't, you don't. Unfortunately, I don't know of any reasonable calculations that will tell you how many gyros you need. For those of you who are either studying mechanical engineering or have studied mechanical engineering, it's one thing to calculate weight versus force when it comes to thrusters, because that's a lateral force. Okay, it's a force acting direct onto something. Gyros are, here you go for you engineers out there, gyros are about a moment arm. So it's moment force that is applied, translated into layman's terms, it is a twisting force. Now whether that be twisting around the center axes, around the X, Y, or Z axes, doesn't matter. It's a twisting force. So a moment arm force, or called in mechanical engineering a moment arm. So given that reality, it is very difficult, easy enough to calculate newtons when it comes to thrusters. Calculating newtons when it comes to moment arm force is a little more challenging, because it's not applicable in the same ways. Okay, so we have to do 2 more things here. We are going to put a conveyor tube there and a conveyor tube here, and if all went well, those both turned green, which they did. So I am happy. Okay, and the challenge here is to, I'm actually going to sit myself here. Alright, so let me do that. Alright, so we're actually going to work our way out in this direction. So, what we're going to do is put in this one, which hopefully, and it did, thankfully, turn green right off. This here, and then that there. Alright, So the first thing to do is to put in my, there's the tube on this end and the tube on this end, then all of our conveyor junctions, which I am hoping everything will turn green. Let's look. That one turned green, all green down the sides except for, oh, that one, because we're not connected there yet. But let's go down here and have a look. Yes, all good. And all good. Alright, so one last conveyor, not sure how we missed that. And green and green. Alright. So the gyros all have their little indicators going that direction. Okay, did I just block my escape? I see a hole there, so I think the answer is yes, I did. No idea how I would have done that. Strange. Alright, either way, we will, this is easy enough to overcome. There we go. Now we have the escape path again. Alright, so gyros. Let me get reoriented here. Find out which side the gyros are facing. Now the opposite direction, it looks like. And the little control panels, yes, they're facing the opposite direction. So, having said that, why is this not working? 3. So there's all the gyros on that side. 3. And did I get all of them? I think I missed one at the end. Right. So, to conveyor tube, hopefully that will turn green, and conveyor tube, and hopefully that will turn green. Yes, it did. Alright, so we have the final gyro for this area here. Get it turned correct direction. We will start backing our way out. Hello. Turn the tank back to the correct tiger orange color, and then we have that there. We have a tube here which hopefully will indeed turn green. And then a black cube Alright, so the good news is all of the thrusters appear to be working. Yes. Okay, so sorry if I made you all dizzy. So the port side will get turned right side up, so this is now right side up. Okay, so if all is going well, then we're going to do a little bit of cheating here. I'm going to put inventory insert ice, because this is a rebuild and I'm not really worried about survival and everything. Yes, that's 5 million ice. If everything is going well, then we should have had something happen here, and it didn't. Generators. Okay, so here's the test. It's not grayed out. Okay, if we look at the hydrogen tanks, for example, on the right side, it's grayed out. So I can't put the ice here, but it is letting me put the ice there, which is nice. So we do have a boatload of generators back there. Okay, so the good news is Clang is on vacation now, which I'm very happy for. Obviously, Clang could return at any moment. This is going to take a while. I'm about a quarter of the way done. And I know this is all super boring. So actually I could come back and do all this later. So let me just run out of ice. Which won't take very long, because it's taking a little over 100k per generator, 108k per generator, so it's going through that ice pretty quickly. So less than 3 more. Oh, whoops. I am incorrect. Alright, so having done that, escape, let's back off. Okay, so we have the aft portion is done. The hydrogen tanks are all done because there wasn't an issue there. They are connected through into this section, which is also connected through into the cargo section, and then we are into the reactors. So the question is, in terms of reactors, let me change back to the correct color here. I hate to take away batteries, but yeah, that's what I thought. So we need connections through here. So 2, 1, and they turned green, which is great. Alright, so back. So there is this there. In fact, let me go just because. So these are light armor blocks, and this. That way we have everything that we are using and needing. Catwalk plate, and we want to follow suit in the same direction. Alright, so to save myself a little bit of effort, I'm going to go into spectator, and the reason I do this is because ultimately if I really tear into things here, this is going to take some time. So obviously I've completed this, so here's me. So what I want to do is peek into here and see that conveyor tube. So I'm going to change back to tiger colors and put a tube there and a tube there. And yes, indeed, they have all turned green. Okay. Bottom is next. So, same thing here. Tube and a tube, and hopefully they both turn green. Okay, so there's 3 sets. Break through here. Okay, get reoriented. So we're going to peek in the outside. So there is a set here. Green and green, which is what we wanted. And then if we continue on through, oh, I would have expected there to be green, green. And I guess this is out the other side. Alright, find my engineer. Okay, so there was 3. We went right straight through the center. So we should have, alright, so if we go right straight through the center again, there's the center one and this one. Alright, so that is all of them. So we have 15 reactors there. Let's get back into my character. Let us test things. So we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to insert uranium ingot, and we'll do, let me see, 15. So let's go 1.5 million, which will give me 100,000 for each reactor. And we just, they're stealing as they can get it, and I think all 15 reactors went green, so everything good there. Alright, this section is going to be a bit of a challenge because we actually have to decide what are we going to do here. So we have a framework, so I'm going to remove these, and the reason I'm going to remove these is so I can work in here. So couple things, and this is kind of more oriented on what do we want to do here. So this was shields. I like shields. The problem is if we really are doing something vanilla, which we're not, because I already talked about the scaffolding here. But do we want energy shields? And if we do energy shields, then how far does that stray outside this realm of, well, almost vanilla? The other side of this equation is, well, what else am I going to put here? Now, I could put refineries here. Refineries is definitely an option. The good thing about having refineries is we need them. So this is actually a really good space for refineries. In fact, I could put refineries somewhat towards the center, and and a layer of armor over the top of them, or we do like we did right next door here, and just put armor plate, or rather the catwalk plate. So center of the ship a bit vulnerable here from the perspective of there is no armor here, but this is a transport. It's not a warship. So it's using armor as blocks to connect everything together more than anything else. All right, so having said all that, let's first things first. We ultimately need to plumb in the connections, and to do that, so we're going to do the center one here. One more. There we are. All right, and it turned green. In the previous version, that didn't turn green. So Clang was just doing crazy stuff. All right. Now, imagine, so these four are our connections. Sorry. These four were where the shielding was, and the connections had to move up and out and around to accommodate. So we're going to do the same thing here, because I mean, what I would like to do is actually have the refinery here and the yield module, formerly known as the efficiency module, in the back here. So then we will have a set of blocks here, and then we'll still use this piece as the connection. So having said that, I need to start building that. So that one there, we have an elbow which will face down, an elbow which will face this way, and then we do the identical on this side, which ultimately we're going to have to work with in here. Yeah, so we'll do that on the way through. So in the interim, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and yes, I know I kind of just sealed myself in here, but that's okay, because I have an escape. I can just go out here. And just like I did on the other side, because this framing in here is actually holding the ship together, and there's also a set of batteries there, I'm gonna remove all these. And it's just, again, for ease of work. Okay, so our one in the center here, and then we will have 4 others. So we'll do, I guess, the 2 sides first. And we have our elbow turned up, our elbow turned this way, and actually create. And then all the way across. Hey, hide key. And we'll do kind of the same thing, kind of go in here so we can put this where it needs to go. 1, then an elbow, which will point down as soon as the game stops freezing. And in. Alright. And we'll do the same thing again, go out. Okay, so top is the same thing. We will go out this side. Elbow, which is here. Another elbow here. To this little hole, so we need another one, then a curved, another curved. I'm not sure why it's called curved, because it's an elbow, but hey, this is Space Engineers. Alright, so there's 3 of 4 back in here, so we can see there's 1. There is 2. So there's 1 missing there, and we should have this one here. Alright, so it's just this bottom one is left. And we go this way. So 2, which is a conveyor tube. An elbow, another elbow, and alright. This little area here, so we need elbow, oh darn it, and elbow. Alright, so that section is now complete as far as running conveyors through. Now all we need to do is put in trying to see if there is a way to do anything else here. Could we put in more? So the batteries now are charging, and because there's hardly any load on it, they charge all the way to the top. Then they shift back over to supplying power, so they're endlessly cycling. So the question is, could we put 2 refineries next to each other, and I think the answer is no. It does not look like there's enough space. But having said that, let's come out here. So we have a 3 by 3, and the reactors are too wide. So no, we really can't do that. All right. So here's what we can do. Did we not do one here? Okay, yes we did. Just looks like we went the wrong way in doing that, but maybe we didn't. Should have gone down in every orientation here, which we did. Alright, never mind. That was me just being the optical illusion issue. Okay, refinery, and we need the yield module. I'm not terribly worried about power. We actually, between the 15 reactors that are forward, we have 3 more reactors in the thruster section, the main thruster section. So we have 15, 16, 17, 18 reactors, large reactors. So we have a lot of power. As you can see, we have a boatload of batteries. So the batteries are doing what the batteries do. Yield modules, being what they are, I'm going to stack. Well, we need 2 refineries. I'm going to face them out. So I want the back side towards me, and I'm having trouble actually seeing. There we go. That's what I wanted. I want it here, so I can put armor on the outside. So there's the first one. Same thing here. So that one is to the outside. This one here is to the outside, and then we will have one more here to the outside. Alright, and the only challenge here is alright, so let's do this one first. And we will put another one down here. So spin, install, and let's do the same thing up here. Spin so it actually is oriented correctly. Install. Alright, and then we are down to putting in yield modules. 8. So let us put in yield modules. So if all goes well, we can put oh darn, I did not want to put, didn't want to put them like that. Didn't want to do that. That didn't work out quite as planned. Alright, those 2 are in. Now theoretically that cannot happen anymore because alright, up and so that should have actually been 8. Yep. And we're going to go up a little bit and put in 8 more. modules. We'll flip that up on the end, and 6, 7, 8. And all of them turn green, which is always a good thing. Alright. Well, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. So, we'll do it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they should all indeed turn green. And one more set, which will actually be the exact same orientation. 3, 4. And then the refinery right there. Alright. So, the good news is we have completed everything. We now have 8 refineries, which is actually not a bad thing. And let us go ahead and do armor on the outside here, and then we will do our plate. And then the final touch will be to put our tiger stripe on here. In fact, let me hold on the tiger stripe and we'll do that all at once. Let me get my block here and we'll put our blocks in. 24. Alright, so I only removed the 2 sides. And looks like a battery block, but that may be a clang issue. Uh, 6 again. 24. Plate. Make sure it's oriented in the right direction, and then the plate is on. Alright, and because I only removed the plate on 2 sides, change colors. Oh, darn. Over to this far side, and alright, we got that one set of blocks left. I want to get up in here and see, so that's still there. We had one missing here, which, 5. Alright, and then we have blocks, armor blocks, and then that should be it. So, let me change colors again. Select 6, which is our block. Put it in here and change orientation a little bit, so we have 24. Okay. Okay, that is normal. That's the conveyor that we put in, but it's normal because those conveyors are not yet connected to anything. Okay, so, and we can see the end of those connectors right there. Alright, so just like we did before, we are going to put in gyros. So 3, my intention is to put gyros so the plate, the control panel is forward. So I'm going to think there's one set of gyros, and we're going to do all 4 sections independently just because it will be easier that way. So there should be 6 and 6, yes. Alright, and then we will plumb our way out and then go into the next area. So the first thing we need here is a conveyor tube. So conveyor tube, and then a conveyor junction. Hopefully I can, in fact, get out of here. Yeah, I should be able to. Alright, and then conveyor tubes. We need actually 2 conveyor tubes, so there's going to be a conveyor tube there, which thankfully turned green, and a conveyor tube there. So we're going to go and try and look down. We see everything turned green there, and everything turned green there. The only thing I do not know is did my okay, so let's we'll hack our way into the back and see if, so that turned green. This is good. Green is good. Alright, so conveyor tube, green. Conveyor tube, green. Okay. Now, we can technically hack our way out of here, although it would probably be better if we Right, we're going to do this end last. And the reason we're doing this end last is because these are all oxygen tanks, and they're going in 2 different directions. So, gyros first. So, 3, alright. And, gyros. Alright. Done with gyros 0. And so actually, if I put the first conveyor here, we have now connection point, and we can see, yes, it turned green. Green is good. Green is good. So we're going to cheat just a little bit. We're going to put that in and this in, and then conveyor junctions. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, and so everything here is green, everything here is green. Alright. So there is the 2 sides, and now we need to go up and down. So let's go back here. We're going to put in the first, so this is a tube and then a conveyor. And if all went well, that turned green. Yes, it did. Right, so gyros. Come on. We should be able to put our conveyor, and conveyor. Alright, so there it should be 3 sections here for conveyors. I think that one, that one, so we should just have this area. Yes. Alright, so you know what? These are making all this a lot more difficult than it needs to be. So, gyros. Tube and a conveyor junction, and this should have gone green, which it did. And we have junction, 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 junction. And then we have conveyor tube, which is there. Turned green, and there, which also turned green. Alright. So, kind of work our way towards the center, I guess, and then leave ourselves a singular escape route. So, the only way to make all of these connections in is, unfortunately, junctions. So, junction, junction, and junction. Which now the center is connected. In this case, we have we can actually go, do I, could actually leave, well, we clearly have a unique thing here, because that has to go out on that side, which is, so junction, junction, and junction. Although, this really doesn't have to be a junction, it could be just a tube. Because it's not connecting to anything. So, conveyor tube. Oh, yes it is. Never mind. Because the oxygen tanks are there. Alright, so let me do this one and then work my way out. So this one actually could be a junction, and I don't think there's anything here. That's a jump drive. So conveyor tube. Try again. 6 mouse clicks is sufficient. Then we will have a conveyor junction there, and then 2 more conveyor tubes here, and then we will actually make our escape, which is going to be a conveyor junction here and a conveyor tube leading into the next section. Alright, and then we have to kind of repeat a few things because here we go. Conveyor junction, or sorry, just conveyor tube. And up to the other one. It is a conveyor tube. Right there, and actually we can put on, ultimately we're going to have a bunch of these because they go across this entire section. And oxygen Alright, so with the oxygen and the jump drives here, we're going to continue these forward. Okay, because the jump drives go to that. Let's do that. So I'm going to do something a little quirky. So let me get these others. Never mind. We'll do them one at a time. So one of the things I want to do, and hopefully those will all turn green. Yes, they did. And I'm going to do the same thing on this end. Why am I doing that? The plates, these things, have to be connected onto something. So the idea here is we just gave it something to connect onto. That was the idea there. Alright, so having said that, we'll put another one there and another one right here, which is at the end, and then we will shift back to conveyor tube and connect to this end. And if all went well, they will turn green. Greeny. Green is good. What I don't know, though, is did this inner one turn green? So what I want to do is conveyor tube. We'll go to the second to last. This we will change to a conveyor junction that turned green, which is a good test. And now that I know these have all turned green, then I come back in and put that one there. And if all goes well, it should go green again. Alright, so this one was all the way to the end. I'm going to get rid of this end piece and put that. If all goes well, that will turn green, which it does. And another one here. So, if I'm not mistaken, I should have one more. Nope, all done. Alright. So, we have brought our conveyors all the way from way back there, sorry make you dizzy, and bring them to here. So, we have conveyor junctions at all 4 cardinals, and we have all of the oxygen tanks are here. So, because I want to just over-engineer, I want to connect all these back in. And the only way to do that in vanilla is using conveyor junctions. Don't like using conveyor junctions because they actually do take some CPU time. We got some issues here, and the issues are we have a lot of assemblers that do not have speed modules. So what I want to do is change the way I do business here. So I'm gonna go naval engineering on you here. So our port side system is going to be this one here. So there's 4 of them already, and then my starboard side system is going to be this one. Now, why have I said that? Because I can go all the way around, which is really to say these 4 with assemblers on there. And then I'm going to continue the assemblers because this section used to have the Kenti refineries and Kenti extractors in here. So this was this area, which is why it's blank now. But as I've learned a little bit more about how these things work, to me it was all about quantity at the time. So having a bunch of assemblers so you can do what you really need to do. But those speed modules, because they, I don't remember whether it's a 50% increase or a 100% increase. I think it's a 100% increase for each one. So if you have 4 on there, you're actually running at 400% over what you could otherwise. So if we have an assembler with 2, so if we look at this one here, this one has 2. There is a speed module here and a speed module here. So if I consider this one and this one, also 2, so this assembler has 2 and this assembler has 2. But considering what speed modules do, I could literally take these out and have this one here with all 4, and it would be doing the job of these 2. Okay, so it's actually more efficient to have less is better because of these speed modules. So what I want to do is take out we're going to take out those 3. Actually, I did want to leave that one. So we'll take out that one, that one, that one, that one. And in fact, that one, that one, that one. So the idea here is we will put the speed modules on all 4 cardinals of this one and all 4 cardinals of that one. So we're going to leave that because that was one that was there, and we'll get rid of that one and that one, 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 and this one, this one, facing the wrong way, and that one's going to go away completely. Goes away as well. And that goes away, and that goes away. Alright. And because these are oriented incorrectly, we have to dismantle them. Alright, now so we no longer need refineries and we no longer need yield modules. So let's go back in here. We are working with assemblers now and speed modules. I don't normally play with the power efficiency modules, and they're nice to have, but if you have the ability to put power where you need it, then I don't want to say power is cheap. Batteries can be expensive because you have to put all of the power cells in. Reactors can be extremely expensive because you have to build the reactor components. So I don't want to say power is cheap, but you know, starting out, oh, I hate this. 1, 2. Oh, good. There is room. I like it. What I tend to do for my own survival play is when I'm first starting out, even though yes, it's nice to be able to build parts a whole lot faster, I can build parts within assembler. So I build up everything, I get the power I need, and then I don't really have to worry about the possibly inefficiency in power, because in the end, speed is more important to me. I want to be able to manufacture these parts faster. Regardless of anything else I do, if I put a power efficiency module on there, I lose either an effectiveness for yield or an effectiveness for speed. One or the other. I'm going to lose that. It's nice to be able to run on much less power, but in the end, because I really want the speed, then I tend to focus on the speed instead. Alright, so let's get the assemblers in here, and it doesn't matter what orientation we go with them, because we're using all the sides. And one of the things to remember is that when you're going cooperative, they have to be connected to each other. Now, I've never tried connecting off the side, but I know end to end they will all cooperate together. Alright, so let me continue on down here. So 8. So come on. Whoops, forgot about these. God, that sun is annoying. Make sure I'm lined up correctly. Yes. Ah, damn it. All right. Okay, so we're gonna have some gaps, and we'll play the gap thing here in a moment. 8. So this one is facing the right direction by virtue of I just put them on the bottom over here because I put all those in already. These should all turn green immediately, and they did, other than this one that's missing. Alright, so there is 3 sides, I think, for that one. So assemblers, assembler. Alright, and then more speed module, which I have to get this going the right way. Alright, and then we have 2 left, which I guess I could have started from here just as easily, huh? This one. All right, so even though we had probably like 20 of them, we have changed into 2 different arrays, which is now our port and starboard array. The only thing we can do here is basically put conveyors all the way through, which I'm going to do. Except for these out here on the outside, which I'm going to do elbows. And the reason for that is, you know what? Scrap that. I'm not going to do that. So we are going to put conveyors. And we're going to put conveyors because we're actually continuing these junctions onward. So I need 2, 3, and there will be 1, 2, 3 there. See, the problem is these. I gotta connect all this stuff in. So do we just go ahead and use conveyors to do that? I guess we will. So as inefficient as conveyors tend to be, I may be trapping myself in the proverbial corner here. So the good news is that all of the two assembler systems are now connected in. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put batteries on the outside, just because you can never have too much power. And I'm going to put a pipeline down the center here. And ultimately there will be more pipeline here. So let me go ahead and put that in. Make sure I am, yeah, all good. Alright, so I'm going to continue down here. This is actually going to be connected to here. And we will have a conveyor here. And we turned green, which is exactly what I wanted. Actually, we're going to put a conveyor here because technically we can put, come on, lag. We can move this bulkhead. This bulkhead does not have to be here. The bulkhead can actually shift back one. Alright, so having said that, let me put, in fact, because at this moment it's in our way, let me actually remove this bulkhead, which will make our job a lot easier in getting all this stuff working. Alright, so conveyor there, and conveyor here. Okay, I suppose if I were being smart, then okay, so we're gonna put batteries in. So gee, let me grab a battery. Batteries here. Do we need more batteries? The answer is probably no. But I'm going to put them in anyway, because why not? And we're going to put them right up to the bulkhead here. I think that's, yes, that one's it, that one there. Right? Nope. Back one. Back two. Okay. There we go. That's better. Alright. And then we do the same thing here, which is those. So of course the amusing part, if you think about this, is well, how many power cells would this have really taken had I actually been building all of this? And the short answer is a lot. But I do like my batteries, and I like my batteries not necessarily because batteries, but because I don't like space that's wasted. I like having every nook and cranny of everything effectively used. And that's not always possible, of course, but many times it is. Alright, so there's this side, so there's definitely a bunch of batteries there. So while we're over here, we're going to go ahead and finish by putting in that. And it turned green. Good, good. Alright, I should have batteries up here already. Yes, I do. Which means getting this one in is... and green. Fortunately, that one's already in, but we can come in through this side and get all of the batteries. Make my visor on that one. Get all of my batteries in as I would like them. So, 9. That may not be enough, but that's down here. 20, but I can finish on the end here. Now that I can orient myself. Yeesh. There, and these are to right here, I think. Yes, to the right. Alright, out, and then batteries, and down. One more, there it is. 2. Turns green. Green is good. Alright, so we should now have batteries all the way across into the vacant spaces. We now have 2 complete assembler sets of 7 each. Cryo chambers. I'm going to add 1 more. In fact, nope, I'm going to add 3 more. 7 makes 10, so we will have 2 10 assembler arrays. And why? Well, because this area here is the cryo chamber. How big does the cryo chamber need to be? Especially now that we're doing vanilla, we don't have all the fancy display-only ones from either Darth Biomech or Ectosage. Either one of them have really neat, really neat cryo chambers, by the way. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take this bulkhead out completely, even though I've removed the vast majority of it. All right, we're gonna modify a little bit on the outside to accommodate what we're doing here. Actually, scratch that. Let me go ahead and keep my focus. So, assembler, assembler, assembler. And assembler, assembler, assembler. We need our module. So I gotta figure out how this, okay, there we are. So that one goes 1, 2, and 3. That one is 1, 2, 3. Spin it that way. So let's go down here and put these in. There's a 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3, 3. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3, and last. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, and it looks like all of them turned green, which is exactly what we wanted. All right, batteries. We'll do the batteries next. So the batteries go to right there. Yes, batteries to there. This one is tubes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And more battery. So, which is 12, yes. Sure why I've got my hand up. All right. All right. So to provide myself with markers, that one goes there. So this is actually the edge, and that becomes the bulkhead. Into the next space. So 1, 2. So that one is there, and the bulkhead, and there, and the bulkhead. All right. Now, having done that, I want to change a few things. So. In most every instance back here, we have a double bulkhead, except for that. So we have a double bulkhead here, we have a double bulkhead here, and we have a double bulkhead here, even though it's a little hard to see. So I want to have a double bulkhead here. And the way we're going to do that is to go to number 6. We're going to change to a slope. And we're going to go click, click, and 1, 2. Click, click. We're going to do 1 and 2. Started. All right, and then all we have to do is fix this here, which is number 6 and 7. There and there. Being as there's no longer actually a bulkhead here because we moved forward. All right, so that should be it. Back to number 8 and 2, which is a conveyor tube, and if all goes well, that will turn green. Yes, it did. Alright, so we just do this again all the way around, get rid of that, put that on there, and connect. Green. Connected green, and we got a couple to get rid of here, and hopefully to turn green. Alright. Okay, I have strayed way over the line, and to remedy that, I think we're going to quit here. This has been a good episode, but as I tend to just get really rocking and rolling when I'm building, then I went way over. So, sorry about that. But we will cut it off here. So this is Kenty Tiger signing off, and we will see you next time.